quite honestly, are not preparing for.
Unfortunately, and today we have Steve Diggs, our resident money and life skills advisor, here with some of the most important things to remember if we want to retire with dignity. That's the key, isn't it?
You know, that's exactly the key. You know, the funny thing is today, everybody and his brother, bankers, traditional brokers, insurance people, everybody is trying to sell us investment advice.
Right.
And the advice that most of us get is, you know, you buy low and you sell high. Now, that may be fine unless it doesn't work. And then the problem is, how do you not buy?
Let's back up and let's discover the goal we're looking for. Kelly mentioned retire with dignity. Define that.
Well, my concept of retiring with dignity means that we are able in retirement not to live off of our kids. We're able to do some of the things we want to do, and we don't have to wake up every single morning wondering if tomorrow morning we're going to be out of our house.
Right.
Now, there are some things, and these are not complex concepts. There are some things that the really successful investors consistently do, and these are things that usually pay real dividends that we don't hear a lot about.
You got my attention.
Well, you know, the first thing I would recommend is simply this. Remember what Ray Kroc used to say. Ray Kroc was the CEO for McDonald's for years and years, and he used to say that the whole key to McDonald's success was to go to bed early and rise early and then advertise, advertise, advertise. Well, in sort of the same way, I like to see investors diversify, diversify, diversify. You know, one of the real problems that we make with our investing is sometimes we don't put our money in enough different things. We may buy company stock, we may buy 2 or 3 things, but we're not putting our money in enough different investment nest eggs. And then when one of them goes down, we really get hurt. Best thing to do for most investors is to think about the possibility of putting money into different things, like maybe into a large cap mutual fund, large American companies, maybe one into a mutual fund that buys smaller companies, maybe one into some foreign funds.
In other words, some that are not directly linked to each other.
That's exactly right, because Charlie, they work like a seesaw. When one thing goes down, other things tend to go up, and overall we kind of level out that roller coaster that most of us simply do not like to have to go through.
Okay, well, you know, looking at the market, it's been a roller coaster lately, up, down, up, down. So when you're going to put your money into a mutual fund, do you just look and say, this one is up, it's up 30%, that's where I should put my money?
That's what most people do, Kelly, and that's what gets us into trouble. You see, the dangerous thing to do is to open up the paper and look at these funds, then look at the last 3 months or last couple of years and say, well, that's what I'm going to buy. The studies show this. The studies show that many people that buy funds based on how they performed in their recent past are very unhappy, because the studies also show that those same funds tend to underperform in the near future. So it's important to understand that buying a mutual fund based exclusively on how it's performed in the recent past is a little bit like driving your car looking in the rear view mirror. It'll give you some idea of the train around, but not that tree dead ahead that you're about to hit.
Ooh.
And you always read about those that are consistent performers. You say, well, I can't go wrong buying that, right?
Well, you're right. I don't really like what I call the high-flying funds. These are funds that, you know, you see an advertisement occasionally, you know, we've had this 70% rate of return. And you think, man, I've got to get in on this thing. But think about it. Suppose you do get into one of these funds. You need to understand that the chances are high that the manager has been taking some sort of risky investment approaches that have worked so far. But those things could go south in a New York minute, and we could all be hurting.
Well, you also think that, hey, it's already done what it's going to do. I'm getting in too late sometimes.
Well, that's right. It's exactly right. But, you know, you think about it. Put $10,000 into one of these high-flying funds, and let's just play the game. Pretend it goes up 100% in the first year, and we're up to $20,000, and we're feeling pretty good. But then the next year, that same fund falls 60%. And you think, well, I don't like that, but hey, I'm still up 40%. But are you? You know, you put in 10, it went up 100% to 20,000, but then we lose 60%. By my count, we're down at about $8,000.
That's right.
Watch out, those things hurt when they go down.
Oh my goodness, I never thought about it like that. All right, so what's the key? If you're going to get in the market, you're going to do this, you're retiring, you're looking long term, what do you need to do?
Well, what I recommend is simply this. Be consistent. When you have determined what your investment plan is going to be, maybe you have a company 401k or you have an IRA, you're going to put a certain number of dollars in at regular intervals, maybe every month. Stay true to it. It's a good investment. 1 month it's up, the next month it's down, but if you're satisfied that it's a good solid investment, stay the course. It pays big dividends, and then we get to retire with dignity. You know, Bear Bryant said it right. He said the road to success U.S. is simply dotted with too many parking places, and we tend to kind of get off the road. We run off after these rapids when we're investing. If we'll stay the course, we'll usually be happier.
Excellent. For more information, check out Steve Diggs, diggs.com, and of course you can catch him here every Friday.
Thanks for allowing us to pick your brain, sir.
Well, it was slim pickings, but I'm glad to have done it.
Have a good weekend. We'll be right back. Don't go away.